Good week. Another unbelievable week here at the University of Kentucky. I'm so proud of our former players and what they're doing in the league right now. Once again, we opened the league with the most NBA players on opening day rosters. Really proud that two of our guys, Kobe Bray and Amari Williams, are on that list. I think we have 27 guys now, which is the most, and excited for those guys as they move forward. All of these guys have been so great to us, and they represent Kentucky so well, and hoping to add a bunch more. So that's my announcement.
On that topic, you were at OKC 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What do you guys get out of those trips? Obviously, you got to see a couple of alum, but
Yeah.
like, are you picking brains of that coaching staff?
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
They were incredibly generous. Mark was awesome. He let us sit down in the film room with some other coaches. It wasn't exclusive to us. And we probably sat there for 90 minutes and went over some film, went over some concepts and ideas. And then we had a long follow-up phone call late that night. Just, the way OKC is running their organization, clearly it's an NBA championship organization. And the way they run it is really special. They're really sharing and really engaging, really trying to do things the right way, really trying to make it about team, really trying to expand the reach of the game, really trying to share knowledge and experience, and also very curious, wanting to know best practices from other organizations. So it was a gift. We actually have incorporated some verbiage and terminology from our trip there. Any time we have a chance to go be around a program like that's really built their success over the last 2 decades almost, it seems like, it's pretty great.
How's Jalen doing?
He's doing good. His recovery's been epically fast. He's feeling really good. He was back shooting yesterday, full speed. We'll probably keep him out of live contact for at least another week just to make sure. He's a massively important part of this season, so we're going to make sure that he's healthy before he's rolling out.
What kind of opportunity is it for the other guys, Denzel, Jasper, Colin, to potentially run the show in his absence? What do you hope to learn from this time off?
Man, well, it gives everyone an opportunity, and so it gives us a chance to rethink the way we do things. It's actually interesting. We've tailored some things to Jalen specifically, and so it just is how this goes, right? Sometimes when you get too specific in how you manage the game and get really, really creative, it leaves you vulnerable to change. When you stay really general, it's easier to kind of move through those changes. So that's the dynamic we're going through right now. But it's an unbelievable opportunity. DA is proven, and Jasper is so excited to step in here and take his first shot at this thing. Colin Chandler, has been through this with a year for us and has been playing elite level basketball. And so all those guys are going to have incredible opportunity with J-Lo and without him.
Mark, how will this differ from, say, a controlled scrimmage where you might be working on specific sets or a specific kind of defense, and will you get caught up in the back and forth of I want to win a game? We're competing, so I want to win a game.
Yes, the answer is yes. It's especially with this group. This group they're just hardwired that way. They're going to try and win. They're going to get mad at me because I'm going to. We have a lot of things that this is an incredibly important data collection moment for us, and it's unbelievable that we get to do this against this Purdue team. I mean, Matt Painter's, if he's not the best coach in college basketball, he's got to be right up there in the top 2 or 3 or 4 right now. He's incredible, and what they've done recently with this group. You think about how often do you get to go test yourselves before the season even starts with the lights on against a team that's composed of, 3 guys that have been to a national championship game and been to a Sweet 16, and I think some of the guys actually lost in the first round of a Sweet 16. They've experienced everything, and they've been together, and they've built such a great program. So for us to get this chance to go just get this really in-depth look at who we are right now is a gift, right? And so we're going to take full advantage of that while doing everything we can to win, but still not leave anything on the table in terms of learning about ourselves. So there's going to be all kind of push and pull and tug and everything else, but at the end of the day, these guys are hungry to win every time. That, if we were playing checkers right now, there would be some uproar about who was winning and how they were winning and what they were doing. It's a competitive group.
With Jalen's injury, I think a lot of people had flashbacks to Lamont, obviously with the shoulder, and I know it's not his shooting shoulder, but any differences or comparisons as far as severity or maybe likelihood of re-injuring that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing has just been the pain associated with it. So, Lamont was battling pain every single day to try and get to a healthy point, and Jalen actually was pretty pain-free really, really quickly. So that's probably the biggest difference right now. And this structurally, there's some differences, but that's kind of the most palpable difference.
Mark, was that happening? Was that kind of the reason? You said last week maybe it would go longer potentially, but that was kind of like, no, we're done. We're not.
Yeah, you're calling me soft. I was a little soft. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little traumatized. It wasn't my finest moment, but I'm like, let's get out of here with the group as intact as we can. I don't know if that was the right call. I normally am not like that. Normally I just stay like dead focused, but I succumbed to a little bit of worry.
With the other point guards that you just mentioned, what about the unique opportunity of getting to play Braden Smith tomorrow and then Malik Mack next week, as opposed to in the previous roles probably playing against like D2 or IA?
It's awesome, actually. And because normally and that's why I'm so grateful for these games, normally with these exhibition games, the best you're probably getting out of it is getting your guys under the lights in front of our fans, getting used to the arena, getting used to the regimen of the day, the emotion, kind of getting all that stuff to a comfort level. We get to do all that, but we actually are going to play against, probably a lot of people would call the best point guard in America right now. Certainly he's got to be, if he's not the most experienced, he's got to be close to the most experienced and an elite level playmaker. And so it's an unbelievable opportunity to go really see who we are at the very highest level. We're not going to see who we are at a medium level. We get to go compare ourselves to the very, very best right now, and it's going to give us an incredible vision of how we have to grow. And so it's a gift. I don't think ever have I been more of a fan of an NCAA decision than this one. This is awesome.
Mark, how do you think the atmosphere will be? Do you think UK fans will be as into data collection as you are versus just winning?
No. We come to Rupp Arena for one reason, and that's to win. And I know that. That's the beauty of our deal. So, and that's awesome. Like, that's the way it should be here.
In terms of preparation for exhibition games like Purdue, is it the same as the regular season?
Yeah. We actually have done some scouting, but we're doing all of our scout right now. All of our practice is geared towards concepts. We're kind of using Purdue. We're cherry picking a Purdue scout. So what we're doing is we know things that where we really want to grow, we want to get better. So we're kind of just using one little slice of Purdue here and one little slice of there to work on the things that we know we need to work on. So it's not a full scout, but it is a very incredibly useful scout in terms of us. We've mapped out a very clear progression for these 6 weeks. And so there's some things that we're working on this week that are really important to us that we're going to get to implement in this game. And now it's fun to actually be able to take a little bit of some kind of intricate punches we're doing, or a little spacing thing here, or a little action here, and now we get to go work on it in the context of playing the game.
Mark, speaking of NCAA rules, two guys in the G League elite team are now going to be, committed and will be playing in the future in the NCAA. What are your thoughts on that ruling that's allowing them to play, and how does it differ than, say, a European kid who might have signed with a professional club
Yeah.
over there and still
Yeah.
gets to come over and play?
I don't, I think we're still trying to iron out the specifics of exactly what is going to be allowed and what's not allowed. I know that, there's a player right now that's being recruited at a pretty high level where it's still pending like waivers and everything that goes into that. We're working it all out in real time. I think it's a fascinating time to be a college coach. There's so many things that we don't know, but I still come back to this place. I might be standing a little bit alone on this runway, but I still feel like this is the greatest opportunity in the world for these young men to like grow into men. I don't think we're losing that. I think I gave you guys this anecdote about in the spring I got a little frustrated. I'm like, this is pro. And then at the first meeting with our guys, I'm like, no, it's not. This is like young guys that have a couple dollars in their pocket, but they need us more than ever before. And so I still think this is the best place in the world to grow, to kind of make that steps from being a high school kid to going on being a pro. And that transition to me is one of the most extraordinary, when I say pro, to being an NBA player, I think it's one of the most extraordinary, fast-paced, like all-encompassing transition that athletes go through. And our guys need leadership, they need guidance, they need mentorship, they need to grow. And so that process is still intact, it's still beautiful. It's more complicated than it's ever been before. So in regards to who can come, how long they've been out of high school, what they've been doing since they've been out of high school, I think those things are all clearly, we're getting in a new area, but the function of what we do is still the same. If we do it right, it still is the most important thing. I tell this to recruits all the time, and this is real. I got to play in the NBA for a long time, and we trick ourselves that our life is going to be great once we get to the NBA, because that's actually not true. I loved everybody I got to play with in the league, man. It was an incredible gift to play with these guys. But there are a lot of guys that I got to play with in the league that their lives were really, really complicated. And it's not the end of the rainbow when you get there. It's not like once I get there, everything in my life is going to be good and all my problems are going to be fixed. It's not. That is a trick. And it's crazy how we think about that. If we can just get there, then it's going to fix everything. It doesn't. All it does is make everything bigger. When you get there, if you've grown into a secure, like self-aware, disciplined, sharing, making things about something bigger than yourself person, it's the greatest ride ever. But if you get there and you haven't grown into somebody that's capable of taking it on, it could actually make your life incredibly miserable. So this learning ground that we have right here, right now, is still maybe more than ever massively important. And so, I don't know the specifics, but I do know that. I really believe that. And it's our jobs are more important than they've ever been in terms of mentoring these kids to become something great that's gonna be able to give them a joyful life.
Mark, even though the scrimmage was abbreviated, were you able to take a couple of those data collection points from the limited time you got?
Yeah, it was really good. When you jump into live play, there's just so much slippage, right? There's slippage everywhere, and so that's the fun part of this part of the season is we're going to walk into this game against Purdue, and we're going to see slippage all over. We're like, man, we were drilling this so well, and in the game there's all this slippage, and that's the process we go through now. And certainly we saw some of that in the scrimmage, but that's the next natural step in the evolution of your team, is that you teach, you do in a very controlled environment, and then you do in a less controlled environment. You got to reteach, and then you do in a even less controlled environment, and then you reteach and reaffirm. And so we're in that process right now.
Mark, when a player like Jalen or Lamont or JQ goes down, does your medical school background kind of help a player go through something like they're going through?
I wish it did better. Like I've said this over and over, the best thing for medicine was me getting out. Probably saved our medical world. I have some real familiarity with a lot of the entry level information, and so that's nice. That I can communicate, that I can, in some ways, on a very, very basic level, I can be a little bit of a liaison between a doctor and a trainer and an athlete, but they don't need me for that process. We have the best performance guys ever.
What's been the most challenging thing this week?
Oh, wow. Purdue, actually. To be honest with you, like I would tell you all kind of stuff about us, but this is it. This is the number one team in the country for a reason. And the way that Matt has done this, the way that he's put this team together is incredible. And the way he's retained his guys is incredible. And the way he coaches is incredible. And the makeup of these kids is incredible. And they are a insanely formidable opponent before you even start the season. So it's a great challenge, and it's what we're grateful for. It's going to be an unbelievable look into who we are right now.
Mark, following up on that, Smith's numbers kind of speak for themselves, but when you break down his film as opposing coach, what stands out?
Well, there's not a lot you can do with him. So, with him, you're going to try all of your punches. You're going to try all of your different looks, which, our package is a little bit limited right now, but you're going to try them all, and he's just pretty good about interpreting everything that's going on the floor. He's we've talked about this before, but he's one of those point guards that's actually incredibly comfortable just moving all the pieces on the floor. He when he needs to be, he can be an elite level scorer at all three levels. He's an unbelievable playmaker. He puts you in really complicated situations. He's really good at responding. You change up a look for him, and it's like for a lot of guys, when you change up a look possession to possession, it can throw him off balance. But for him, in real time, he's just like, yep, I've seen this 100 times. I'll go handle this also. So he's got great quickness and toughness and IQ out of this world, and he's a terrific player.
Mark, you had a little preview USA between Daniel and Malachi. What did you learn from that kind of head-to-head battle?
Two unbelievable kids, two really incredible talents. They approach the game a little bit different, but that's gonna be really fun. You're gonna see two young bigs that have incredible futures in this game, and so they'll be fun. But both great kids.
What's been the most gratifying thing about watching this group come together up until this point?
I've talked about it, a lot of it, so I'm just going to repeat myself a little bit, but there's some things that make me smile. Like the fact that I can't get these guys to shut up is just incredible. The first time we actually had a practice yesterday with courtesy of Coach Brooks, who's always, AB does an unbelievable job about looking at our program holistically. Like sometimes we get lost in the weeds, and he's always taking this 30,000-foot view. And so he just a small tweak. He's like, Coach, because we've been talking about how much our guys communicate, like how relentless they are communicating. He's like, hey, the next step right now is let's get in the gym with a ton of crowd noise. Like let's make it feel like it's really there. And sure enough, it had the impact on our team that it has on every team. It's a little disorienting, and the first thing you do is you stop communicating quite as much because you think guys can't hear you. But the trick is when you play the way we do, your mouth going is actually what makes your mind work. And so when you stop actually talking about everything aloud, you stop reading as quickly. So it's been incredibly gratifying, one, to see our guys like just absolute joy in communicating with each other. And it's been another thing to see our coaches step up and be like, hey, let's actually take this to the next level. I love our team's communication right now. It's going to be important for us all year long. I love their competitive spirit. I love practice. I love our practices so much because our guys make it fun. Like there's not one guy on our team that disengages. They are just so hungry to win whatever it is we put in front of them. It makes practice just a joy. So been really gratified by that.
Excuse me, sorry. If I could circle back to the question about the bigs, in a typical exhibition game in the past, you might be playing against a 6'5" or 6'6" center. What can it do for you in this kind of matchup where legitimate?
Yeah, well, it's gonna really challenge us. It's gonna expose us at the highest level, right? So, you know, sometimes if you're playing against a team that's not really the same talent level early in the season, you don't get a lot out of. You can just do things on the floor because you're just physically dominant, or because it's younger guys, or because it doesn't really give you a good marker of where you are basketball wise. Like, you know, their bigs give you 3 different looks as far as we can tell so far this year, just from the scrimmage film that we exchanged. But you know, one of their bigs is going to be is pretty relentless about trying to be a quick show, hard show, and one of their bigs is going to, you know, spend some amount of time in a drop or switching, and one of their bigs is going to be like a heavy free throw line drop, maybe, if that's what we actually see. And so, but these are all like top bigs in the country, and so you know, sometimes when you're playing against a drop and you go to Gortat or you go to snake it and make a rim, sometimes you get away with things because you have superior talent. We're not getting away with anything. This is going to be all about, like, are we going to be able to execute at the absolute highest level? And so it's going to really be an incredibly accurate read on where we are right now compared to where we need to get. And that's why these games are such a gift. Right now, you're just trying to learn your team as much as you can, as quick as you can. And so to be able to play the number 1 team in the country right now, like, we're going to get to learn our team faster than we normally would, and that's exciting.
Coach, 2 more. Speaking of that, we're using about crowd noise. How have players adapted to use that to their ability? Have they become accustomed to that yet?
It's a skill.
Yeah.
So it's a skill, and it's a skill that we'll continue to learn on, but we took our first step on it. And what's nice is that as a player, you don't even know you're going to do that. You don't even actually realize. It's just like, you know, you hear all the noise in practice where it's just like piped in, and so it's annoying and distracting, and you're used to like blowing the whistle and then having some quiet where just one coach is giving instruction or 2 players are having a conversation, and you're trying to do that and you're yelling, and it's just annoying. In practice, it's way more annoying than it is in the game. And so we stopped practice twice to remind our guys, be like, guys, just because you feel like you can't hear it because noise, like, you talking, even if your teammate can't hear it, is such a key to how we play every single second of every day. So it's literally a skill that our guys learn and recognize and then can activate. So that's just a process.
I guess I'll throw on the last one. Mark, you mentioned at the beginning that you feel like this change to be able to play, you know, Division I teams as in the preseason scrimmage is one of the best changes NCAA has made in years. Does that make you more encouraged they're going to get to this 40 and maybe now you said 41 games
41.
that you want to get to?
Yes.
Does that make you more encouraged?
Yes, I'm really actually encouraged. I think that I think we're going to end up in some type of space like that. I think it's going to be great for basketball, especially in this current tenure of basketball. I think it's really important. And I listen, this is a great step. These 2 games, they're adding another game next year, so we get to 32 plus the 2 D1 exhibitions. So we're at 34. You know, we're only 7 shy. We could do 7. Speaking of numbers, I got a little number for you. So again, if you pay attention, 27 Kentucky ball players on NBA opening day rosters, the most in all of college basketball. And we set a record for the most made threes in the history of Kentucky basketball last year, and 27 divided by 3 is 9. Thanks, guys.